During the past few years, we have seen SNK collaborate with different gaming companies and make their characters cross over into different titles, appearing as guest characters, and it's quite obvious that SNK is trying to build a network and partnership with other companies. So it's not impossible to assume that SNK would feature some guest characters like with Samurai Showdown. Now, I'm one of the people who love characters crossing over to other games. That's why I love KOF, because KOF is probably the original crossover series, and here are some guest characters and teams that I think would fit really well in the King of Fighters series. Team fighting ExSlayer from Arika, Kairi, Hokuto, and Sanane. Considering that Arika borrowed Terry Bogard to be a guest character in Fighting ExSlayer, there's a good chance that Fighting ExSlayer would be a guest team in King of Fighters 15. Now, who better to appear than the Mizukami siblings? Fighting ExSlayer's hero team from Arika, Scalomania, Alan Snyder, and Tetsuo Kato. I just really need to come up with this team for Arika because Scalomania is just too awesome, and I would be really happy if he would be a guest character in King of Fighters 15. As for his teammates, Alan Snyder is obviously an inspiration from Chuck Norris, and he and Scalomania just fit each other by being heroic characters but endearing and still good fighters at the same time. And Tetsuo Kato is a character that's included in Arika's earlier version of Fighting ExSlayer. Team Kwando Shi Wang from Tencent, King, Yan, and L Blue. If you didn't know, there was a Chinese company back in 2013 that formed a partnership with SNK, and they created a game which, to be honest, is a direct rip-off of King of Fighters, and it's called King of Combat or Kwando Shi Wang, and it featured guest KOF characters such as Terry Bogard and Benimaru Nikaido. Now, we know that SNK still has some form of partnership with this company because of Gongsun Lee being a guest character in some show, so it's a slim possibility that Kwando Shi Wang can be a guest team in KOF 15. But as I said, this game is literally a direct rip-off of KOF. So choosing characters for this team, I just went with the 3 projected main protagonists of the series, and coincidentally are the least ripped off versions of KOF characters. Team Dead or Alive from Koei Tecmo, Kasumi, Ryu Hayabusa, and Tina Armstrong. I think we all know that Koei Tecmo borrowed Mai Shiranui and Kula Diamond for Dead or Alive, and although I never played one Dead or Alive game ever in my life, I know that this game is popular because of the plot and the mechanics. So choosing characters for this team, I gone with the popular and mainstays of the series. Kasumi, Ryu Hayabusa, yes, there's guys in there, I don't even know why, and Tina Armstrong. Team Guilty Gear from Arc System Works, Soul Bad Guy, Kai Kisuke, Dizzy. Now, we go to the crazy territory of this video. I honestly don't think Guilty Gear fits with the KOF universe. Most of them are weapon users, but hey, Verse opened the world to every possibility, so who knows. Also, Arc System and SNK made a working partnership, albeit in a mobile game last September 2020, but that tells us at least that they're open to a relationship. God, I want Milia Rage or Baiken in KOF so bad. Team Square Enix, Cloud Strife, Tifa Lockhart, and Barrett Wallace. I told you we were gonna go crazy. So Square Enix borrowed Yoriyagami from SNK for the Million Arthur Arcana Blood game, and in return, SNK acquired the rights to use Arthur in SNK Heroines. So if we're getting a Square Enix team in KOF 15, who are going to be the most popular representatives of the company? Vincent Valentine? Squall Lionheart? 2B? They are all great, but I would go with the Avalanche team. Cloud, Tifa, and Barrett. I mean, just imagine Barrett versus Maxima or Barrett versus Rolf Jones. Team Sega, Akira Yuki, Ryo Hasuki, Kazuma Kiryu. I know SNK and Sega haven't made any partnership or working relationship recently, but I just thought, why leave out Sega? Virtua Fighter is happening, and I won't be surprised if some SNK character suddenly pops out of nowhere because, as I said, SNK is very open to working with other companies nowadays. And who better to represent Sega?
I'm fast, I'm so fast, you couldn't even comprehend how fast I am.
I would really prefer if you would be quiet. But yes, you are correct.
It's the three most popular franchises of Sega: Virtua Fighter, Shenmue, and Yakuza. Team WWE: Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and The Undertaker. Oh god, no, now I gone full retard, but here goes. First of all, I just want to say this outright. I don't want this to happen, okay? But KOF All-Stars said there's no such thing as impossible. So take this how you want, but I think these three guys are the only ones who would actually fit in a KOF game. I still would hate it if this happens though. Team AEW: Kenny Omega, Jon Moxley, and Pentagon Jr. Again, just let this pass. I know this is stupid, but since I mentioned WWE, I need to mention AEW, right? So, moving on. But you know what? Kenny Omega would actually work. Team New Japan Pro Wrestling: Kazuchika Okada, Kota Ibushi, and Tetsuya Naito. Okay, so I know I've gone crazy on the last two entries, but this, New Japan Pro Wrestling, these guys are basically living anime characters. They work in KOF. I'll just say it out there. If there's a wrestling company that would be a guest in KOF 15, let it be New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm not saying it's going to happen, right? But I think it would... Okay, never mind. Team Mishima, or Mishima Saibatsu, from Namco: Heihachi Mishima, Kuma, and Lee Chaolan. Okay, so let's go back down to earth. Let's do something realistic. If there's any company who would have more than slight chance of being guest characters in KOF 15, it's Namco, and it's Tekken, because Geese motherfucking Howard just happened to appear in Tekken 7, and he is awesome. Not to mention that Haomaru also guests in Soul Calibur. So in creating teams for Tekken, I came up with several teams, and we have to make it make sense. I mean, Heihachi will never team up with Kazuya because they literally try to kill each other upon contact. So if you think about it, who would Heihachi team up with? Of course, his pet bear Kuma and his favorite son Lee Chaolan. Team Kazuya from Namco: Kazuya Mishima, Kasumi Mishima, and Jinpachi Mishima.
What the fuck? That's not fair! That's not fair! Bro,
Team Kasama from Namco: Jin Kasama, Asuka Kasama, and Lin Xiao Yu. So, coming up with this team, I'm struggling to choose between putting Lin Xiao Yu or Lars Alexanderson, but I ended up with Lin Xiao Yu because she's the more original character of the series than Lars. But yeah, this is a pretty cool team, I think. Team Phoenix from Namco: Paul Phoenix, Steve Fox, and Marshall Law. Can we leave out these super friends? It's just awesome how many teams you can come up for KOF from other games if you just use your imagination. It's the reason why I love KOF so much. It's such a unique format, and the concept of teaming up is such a joy. Team Rival Schools from Capcom: Batsu Ichimonji, Hinata Wakaba, and Kyosuke Kagami. Man, I love Rival Schools series. I love Rival Schools and I love Project Justice. And what's better is that I don't even have to think of teams as they are also grouped as teams already. See the pattern of my favorite fighting games? Team School Sports from Capcom: Shoma Sawamura, Natsu Ayuhara, and Nagare Namikawa. It had been a lifelong want for me that this team and the USA sports team to have a showdown in an actual fighting game, and I love the characters of Shoma Sawamura and Natsu Ayuhara. Really badass design overall. Team Darkstalkers from Capcom: Morrigan Ainsland, Dmitry Maximov, and John Talbane. Just too many good options for Darkstalkers. Jeddah, Donovan Bane, Felicia. But I went with John Talbane for the third member. Darkstalkers worked in KOF, I think. With all the myth and the lore going on in KOF, having vampires and ghouls would fit right in. Team Final Fight from Capcom: Guy, Cody, and Mike Hagar. There would be a no better team to fight the Mad Gear Gang than the original trio of the Final Fight series. And I would also love to see Team Final Fight against the original Team Asuka of KOF, Kyo, Benimaru, and Diamond. Team Atlas, Raido Kusunoha, Kanji Tatsumi, and Makoto Nijima. Atlas doesn't really have any current working relationship with SNK, but Atlas is actually the publisher of KOF 14. So if ever there's an Atlas guest team in KOF 15, I would go with Raido Kusunoha of the Devil Summoner game and then add 2 fan favorites from the most popular Persona games, the hard-ass but softy Kanji Tatsumi from Persona 4 and the justice-loving biker girl of Persona 5, Makoto Nijima. This too would also really fit well as KOF participants since Kanji mainly fights with bats and steel chair while Makoto uses martial arts to fight. I had a hard time choosing characters to include in Team Atlas since there's also great candidates like Chie Satonaka from Persona 4 and Akihiko Sanada from Persona 3. But Raido Kusunoha, I think, is a pretty good choice for the leader of the team as the Devil Summoner series is the next most popular game of the Shin Megami Tensei universe. Team Urameshi of Yu Yu Hakusho from Shonen Jump. Yusuke Urameshi, Kurama, and Hiei. You thought it's gonna be Ryu, Ken, Guile, Chun-Li, or Cammy, right? I would come up with those teams, but everyone probably already thought of that. So here are other options. In KOF All-Star, they had the Gintama series as guest characters, which is under Shonen Jump. But do you know who would be the best entry for the KOF game from Shonen Jump? Well, the series that popularized the team tournament format during our childhood, Yuyu Hakusho. If you guys know Yuyu Hakusho, then you definitely know about the Dark Tournament, and that's why Team Urameshi is perfect for KOF, and you know it. So what do you guys think? Give me the best guest teams you could come up with. I appreciate you guys watching my videos. I would have a non-KOF content for my next videos, but that doesn't mean I won't do SNK or KOF content again. But I want to diversify my content or else I'm not going to be Random Boredom Productions. So thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. And this is Random Boredom Productions. Dosing off.